911, what's your emergency?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the PIO podcast, a forum for all things public information related for police, fire, EMS, local government, and federal government. A place to learn, grow, and develop your public information skills. I am your host, Robert Tornabene. I have over 12 years of experience as a PIO and 27 years as a law enforcement officer. Each episode, we will explore different aspects of the public information officer field. To contact the show, email robert@piotoolkit.com. We need your feedback on how we're doing. Please rate us on whatever platform you listen to or send us a review via email. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to get notified on the latest episodes. Thank you for listening to the PIO podcast.
Good afternoon. Today on the PIO podcast, we have PIO Rico Encinas. He's from the Mesa Police Department. Rico, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, Rico, first of all, let's talk about how long you've been in the position as a PIO and what your background is.
Yeah, thanks. Again, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So I work here for the Mesa Police Department in the Media Relations Unit. I am a detective. I've been in the unit now about a year and a half, so still pretty new. But I do have coming up on 27 years on the department. So during that time, done a wide variety of things, as most people have when they have that much time on. But so the last thing I was doing is I was working in our hiring and recruiting department. I was doing background investigations for new hires, since just like every department around the country, we are in a massive hiring frenzy right now, looking for good qualified people. So I was doing that, switched over to recruiting for a bit. And then about 2 years ago, we got a new police chief, somebody who came up through the ranks here and who I worked on the streets with when we were kids. And he asked me if I wanted to come up and join his media relations unit. So seemed like a no-brainer to me, and that's kind of how I got here.
Yeah, when the chief kind of asks, you don't really kind of, it's a good idea to take it.
Right. Yeah. And, and I don't know how it is most places, but this is one of those positions where there's no testing process. There's no, the chief comes, taps you on the shoulder, and, you answer that call. So.
Absolutely. So you didn't have any background, so you've been 27 years in law enforcement. So you have no journalism background, nothing like that. So you're not one of those.
Nope. Just street cop.
Okay.
But I did do a lot of stuff, with our field training program, as far as developing training manuals, speaking at conferences, traveling all over the country, kind of implementing new FTO programs for departments that really didn't have stuff. That was probably back in the early 2000s, started doing a lot of that. So I do have a lot of experience in speaking in front of not only police officers, but community forums, groups like that. And honestly, I just think it was somebody he was comfortable with, somebody he knew that could get in front of people and, not freak out too bad. Public speaking.
Ain't that the truth?
For a lot of officers, but we can talk to people on the street all day long, but the camera turns on and everyone clams up. So it was definitely been an alerting experience, but so far it's been going pretty well.
Excellent. So how is your media relations department staff?
Yeah, so we currently have a sergeant. So, and he reports directly to the chief. And then underneath him is myself and my partner. We're both detectives. And then we have two civilians who do all of our video production and things like that.
Oh, so it's pretty, and how big is Mesa for those people that don't know, population wise?
We're just a little bit over 500,000 people. So we're not too small. I think we're 35th, 36th largest city in the country, 140 square miles. We have about 820 sworn, another 500 professional staff. So I would say we're right in the middle to the upper level as far as department size goes, but obviously we're not an LAPD or, a Chicago or anything like that.
Chicago's got its own issues. I came from that area, so I know.
Yeah.
But all right, so 4 people plus a sergeant, 2 of them are civilians and they handle all your video. So are you and your partner and the sergeant handling social media and then the news media?
Yeah. So what we basically handle anything that comes in, the 3 of us. The great thing about one of our social media people, one of our video production people is she's got a long history as working in the news. So she's produced newscasts in LA and some big markets. Ended up moving here just for family reasons. So it's pretty awesome. We have her to lean on if anything ever comes up because she's got 20 plus years in the news industry.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The other person that works for us just recently came over, maybe a little less than a year ago. And he also came over from the news side. He was a reporter for one of our Spanish language stations here in the Valley. So we feel like we have a good mix because we have the sworn people who can answer some of those questions when it comes to criminal investigations, things like that. But then we also have a nice balance with our other staff because they can tell us, hey, this is what the media is looking for. These are things you want to avoid. These are things you want to get out in front of. So we feel like we have a pretty good balance.
Nice. All right. So what social media platforms are you currently using? And what platforms would you like to expand to if you could?
Well, that's obviously the big thing. That's one of the things I really am trying to get up to speed on because, like I said, I've been around a while, but social media was not my thing when I got up here. So we are currently on Facebook. We have Instagram, and we have Twitter, and I think the city just recently gave our recruiting department a TikTok account. So, yeah, so that was one that was kind of up in the air. But we're going through a strategic plan on how to get more bodies through the door and get some more qualified people. And some of our younger officers who know about that stuff said, you got to get on TikTok. So, so we just recently have done that. But as far as our unit, we primarily use Facebook if we want to put some information out. If we want to put out any information that's happening now, quick, we use Twitter, and we do that quite a bit. We use Instagram for more of, maybe pictures telling a story type thing. And then we also use the neighborhood app a lot. I don't know if you guys all do that. Yeah, that's a big one for us. But for anything breaking, anything happening now, information we want to get out immediately, we use Twitter for that. And then we use Facebook and Instagram for a little bit of the other stuff.
Excellent. All right. So the TikTok app, if you want to look at an agency that really has an interesting TikTok, look at Dallas PD's. So I just interviewed the PIO from Dallas PD, and she is the one that started their TikTok, and it's really geared at recruiting. And if you want to point them to that, because they do a phenomenal job.
That's great. Yeah, we will definitely do that. We brought in to the recruiting team recently a younger officer who's been on the department around 4 or 5 years. She knows she knows the ins and outs of all of that. So they're already starting. We've only had it for a bit, so they're already starting to produce some pretty good content. So
nice.
I will definitely let them know that's the direction to look.
Okay, so I kind of alluded to this. I'm going to jump over one because I don't think you were here. In 2021, this is one of the questions we had on the questionnaire. The city of Mesa and the police department partnered with ASU to conduct a study titled Mesa Residents' Perceptions of Mesa PD and Public Safety. Were you guys involved in that, or was that something before your time?
No, we weren't directly involved in actually putting it out. That was something done through ASU. And we purposely, didn't want to be involved in a sense that how are we going to get an accurate assessment of how the community feels about the department itself, the work we're doing, where we can improve, all of those types of things. So that was something done through ASU. And when the results came out, then we then got involved at that point as far as, getting that information out to the community for those who did not participate in the survey, and then really emphasizing, the things that we're doing well and really looking at the things that our community thinks we need to improve on. So we were involved in a sense on the back end of that, but we were really not surprised isn't the right word. We were pleasantly surprised with the reaction that we got. Our community is very pro-police. They are very in tune with what we need, things that we are doing. We have a kind of a motto here that we're relentless crime fighters, so that's our chief's tagline. So, and the community really responds to that. And then we really try to be involved in the community as well through different forums and things like that. So, the survey came out, ASU did it. And then when, we just did our best to get that message out. So we put that out on our social media account. We also, we got some calls from the news media and stuff. So we did sound for them and did some of that stuff, trying to let the people know that our community really has the police department's back on that.
Excellent. All right. So how do you, as a PIO, handle response to incidents like homicides, officer involved shootings? How often are you guys going out or are you not going out at all? I mean, how do you guys handle those?
Yeah, so we rotate the three of us, the two detectives and the sergeant, as far as who's on call. So we always have somebody on call. We do it 7 days a week, and then then the next person takes over. So if anything that happens while we're at work, physically at work, we go to automatically. We just go. And so that could be homicides, officer involved shootings, things like that. Officer involved shootings are 100%. We go no matter what time, day, anything like that. We are out there. I just had one last week of a newborn child. Somebody rang somebody's doorbell here in the city, and an elderly lady opened the door, and the baby was a brand new baby was just on the ground in front of her door. So,
wow.
Yeah. So anything we deem necessary, as far as we feel like the media is going to want to cover that, we will respond to. And whether we're home, whether we're at work, it's a no-brainer. We just head on out. But when we're on call, whoever it is, sometimes we'll make a decision as a group. But any major incident, any critical incident, we go to for sure.
Okay, great. So how do you release information to the public in a crisis?
We've gone through a couple of different things with that, but really right now our go-to is Twitter for immediate information. So I'm sure your listeners, yourself, we're all familiar with kind of, we get a critical incident call, whatever. We have an email box that all of our media have access to. So they will send us information. They listen on our scanners. They kind of know what's going on. If it's something, for instance, like this child that I had on Friday, that's not something I'm going to have time to answer 15 emails on and give the same exact information on. So I will literally go on Twitter and put it out. Hey, Mesa Police Department's working, whatever the type of call it is. Stay on Twitter for all updates. And then I just basically update Twitter, and that's how we feed information to the media. Yeah. And if it's something serious, then obviously we provide sound on the scene. We're available for interviews. We have a studio here at our station. So anything like that, if we deem that necessary, we will provide that.
Being in the position for you said just under 2 years, what did you find surprising when you first took over the role?
My biggest surprise was just how much work this job is. I really had no idea, when I'm on the street or I'm working as a detective or I'm in the training unit, you really just don't know what the PIO office is doing. And so I got up here and I was like, wow, there's a lot of work going on. So that was the biggest thing, an adjustment to get the type of work that we do every day. Handling the media, redacting reports, releasing reports for FOIA requests. Axon now, we have to edit Axon and run that through homicide. Can we release? Can we not?
It's
Does it
amazing. It's amazing how it just keeps coming. And then there's all the back end stuff like you've got an internal affairs case that's going to pop out and you're getting advised about that. And it's never ending.
It really is. And then, the other biggest thing for me was just really learning that words matter. Like words are so important because you say one wrong word and that's what everybody runs with, and then next thing I know, my chief's calling me,
What did you say?
Hey,
Yeah. I get it.
That's the biggest thing. It's an adjustment. It's another good thing is just being able to have a team. We have a team. So if I'm going to put out a news release, anything that I want to get another set of eyes on, it's really nice because anybody who's going to send it out sends it to the team. We look it over. Hey, you might want to take that out. Hey, that sounds a little weird. Hey, if you put that in there, we're probably going to get this question and we're not ready to release that information. So it's been a learning experience for sure. But the good part is we have enough eyes on it where we can craft our message, get our message out that we want, and also comply by what everyone's asking of us as well.
Excellent. So if you could improve or change something in the office, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think, which I think we might be going to, social media is just such a big thing now that it's really taking over a majority of time that we, some of us do. Like I can literally sometimes spend an entire day just handling social media. What are we going to put out? What's the content? Are we going to balance that out with something else? We have a community project coming up. We have to get the word out, So I don't know if it's a bad thing, but I just think that's something where our department is now looking at maybe bringing on another person that just strictly handles our social media. And that frees up our detective, myself, my partner, and then my boss to really focus on the criminal side of things and getting at the information that's necessary. So.
Yeah, in a department your size, 500,000 community members and just shy of 1,000 officers, having somebody to run your social media and let you do the things that you do as a PIO are so important.
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping for, that it happens soon. Because one incident can literally, something happens here, it'll literally overtake our social media accounts, and we'll just have to have on it for days at a time sometimes. So that's the biggest thing, the biggest change I see. And I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I just think it's going to, most people get their information now from social media, whether it's true, not true, whatever. So we're really focusing on getting our message out quickly, but also getting our message out so we control the narrative as far as the information going out. And we try to put some of those rumors to rest fairly quickly by actually being there and whether it being answering questions people are putting out or just really shooting down information that really has nothing to do with the case. So that's kind of where we are.
All right. And so to finalize these questions before we go into rapid fire, what's one thing that our listeners can take away from our conversation today?
Well, like I said, I'm not somebody that has a ton of experience in this particular unit, but I really think that, anybody across the nation, whatever, police officers, PIOs, I think it's very important, extremely important, that when they move into this job, they understand, or they need to have the backing of the chief, because we really, it's a specialty position. It's not something where you go through the chain of command from, a sergeant, a lieutenant, a commander. You go straight to the chief and you answer to the chief, and your chief has to be on board with that. He has to understand that. And you got to have that relationship where you can walk into your chief's office and say, hey, this is not a good idea, or vice versa. Our job is to, again, put the message out of what our department's trying to convey, whether that be good or bad. But without that backing of your exec staff, this could be a really, really hard job. So, luckily for us, we're in that position right now where we do have that backing. So,
and that's great. That there are some PIOs that are out here that they're fighting to get into the chief's office, and when you have that close relationship, it makes everything better. Instead of being the last to know something, you're usually one of the first to hear what's coming down the pike, which is
right.
Only helps the agency address the issues.
Yeah, we're again, our biggest job is to get that information out that's correct, and craft our message. We don't want anybody crafting our message. We want to craft that message and get it out there as quickly as possible. And if you're getting left out of the room, it's really impossible to do. So that's what I would urge anybody who might be having these types of issues. You gotta be able to walk into whoever your chief is, whoever your supervisor is, and have that tough conversation, because you really have to be in the room. You really do.
All right, let's switch gears. We're going to go to rapid fire questions.
Sure.
Talking or texting?
Talking. That's a lost art, but I still call everybody on the phone.
It's a generational thing too. A place you most want to travel to?
Oh man. I really want to go to Prague.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, I have a buddy who I grew up with, lives in Prague, and he's been after me for years and years and years to get over there. So I had planned to go 2 years ago. COVID hit and it didn't happen. So Europe in general, just a little more exploration in Europe. I love Greece, like to get back there. But yeah, I want to go to Prague.
All right. Coffee or tea?
Tea. Don't drink coffee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. As a cop, not drinking coffee. Look out.
Here's a rare fact. I've never had coffee in my entire life.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here's an interesting one. Is double dipping at a party ever acceptable?
Never. Never. That's
it's a fun one. Drink of choice.
Ooh, it varies. Probably I try to stick with iced tea. I do like soda. Not a big drinker of alcohol anymore. The older I get, the less and less I drink, but do enjoy some whiskey from time to time.
There you go. Invisibility or super strength?
Ooh, invisibility. Yeah.
I like that one. All right. Is there somebody that inspires you?
Man. Yeah, I would probably, it's going to be probably cliche, but my father. I'm second generation American. My father came to this country when he was a kid. My grandmother never spoke a word of English ever throughout her whole life. She had 9 kids. Husband died of polio. So my grandfather died when my father was like 9. My father had to work from the age of about 8, and was able to never got to go to school, was able to work, ended up getting drafted in the Army, and just was able to, they talk about that American dream, but he was able to just go from that to running his own concrete business for several years and did pretty well for himself. So
good for him.
Yeah. So I would just say him, just because of the hard work and sacrifice,
All right. A must read book.
Ooh. I just got one. I can't think of the guy's name. Eric something. He was a Navy SEAL.
Oh, you're talking about
It was
know it's
Raising. Is it Raising Men? I think it's Raising.
I think that's Raising Men. Yes, I think so. Yep.
Yeah. So I like autobiographies. So I tend to read those, but I also I just started that. I'm maybe halfway through, but very good read. Talks about being gone from his son, because he's a SEAL deployed, and how that distance, creates some problems with raising his son to be the things he wants him to be. And it's a little similar to police work. I mean, we're not gone as far as not coming back, but we work 68-hour weeks depending on our position. So I just saw some parallels in that. And I got a boy moving off to college here in 2 weeks, and another one sophomore in high school. So trying to get them through to become adults. So that one's been pretty good so far.
Excellent. Name something you would eat for a week straight.
Ooh, chicken wings. I can eat chicken wings. Okay.
There you go. Ask permission or beg forgiveness?
Ooh, I'm going to go with beg forgiveness.
I think that's a PIO way right there.
Yeah. We think we got the right answer anyway, and if it doesn't work out, we'll ask for forgiveness later.
All right, Rico, any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to add?
No, I just, I appreciate you having me, of course. We're always here. Our department, we're willing to help anybody. We're not claiming to be the best at anything. And we always look for, sorry about that. We always look for ways to improve, and, so we're always looking for that. And so, yeah, if anybody wants to reach out, we love that. We love to learn from other departments, and we like to share any knowledge we may have as well. So,
all right, with that in mind, how could people best reach out to you or connect?
Yeah, so they can call me. So my work phone number is 480-644-2028, or they can email me. That's probably the best way. And that's Richard, RICHARD .Encinas, ENCINAS at mesaaz.gov.
And I will add all of that into the show notes.
Yeah. And like I said, we'd be happy to work with anyone, help anybody out, and also learn from departments that are doing it right. I mean, we constantly are looking at process improvements. We're looking at how to streamline our job on critical incidents, so we're trying to do our best.
Excellent. All right, Ricardo, thank you for coming on the show. Or, I'm sorry, Rico, not Ricardo. It's okay. Richard, and Rico is the way you're
Rico, my nickname. Yep.
So thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to get notified of the latest episode. If you are listening on a platform that allows reviews, please give us a review. We appreciate any review, good or bad. It helps us improve on each episode. Until next time, be safe.